When you were young, what did you want?
Everything. The flashy car, the flashy phone, the flashy house, the flashy plane, list goes on.
Well, so today we're chatting about 8 things that we've stopped caring about, and you should too. First one is material possessions. Now, we aren't saying don't own your house, don't own your car. No, we're not saying that at all. But we have found that it doesn't matter if you have like the best thing in the world. Like you may think, oh, if I get this iPhone, I will be super happy. No, your happiness comes from within. It is so cheesy, but it is true. Those other things, yes, they do give you
But
joy.
there's
I'm not
so
saying they
many
don't.
cool things. There's like the Apple Vision Pro. It's like you can see things, you can interact with things, you can make the screen the size of your whole ceiling. It's amazing.
So, do you think that material possessions, you care about it a lot?
I think there's such an amazing feeling. I remember when I was
Because this
small.
whole video is about things that we stopped caring about.
I remember when I was small and I got a Game Boy, and I was so excited. It's like you're bursting with excitement. And you have that feeling when there's a new, I love gadgets. So when there's a new piece of technology coming out, I'm so excited to try it. And it's like you're window shopping, you're reading about the reviews, the specifications, watching tutorials. It's like a build up. But then inevitably, that feeling doesn't last. It goes away. And I think that's why you have all these new products. It's not like 20, 30 years ago when you bought something and it lasted for a long time. A lot of the products, they're built not to last forever. There's a certain lifespan, and it builds up that excitement. So if you think about materialism, I think it can go to extremes. You can think I have to have a certain thing because it shows what level I'm at in life. If you have a fancy car, it shows that you have a lot of money. But conversely, if you go against that and you just drive a reliable car, it shows that you are more concerned with other aspects of life. What do you think about people's obsession with consumerism and being materialistic?
I think that if you think that if you buy something, then you are going to just automatically be happy all the time because of it, isn't true.
I've stopped caring about perfection so much. And I think it's more about life forcing me not to care about perfection. For example, having the perfect body. I've realized that it's not impossible, it's not practical to spend so much time about thinking about having the perfect body because there's so much that's involved in it. And being perfect in other areas of your life as well, it's impossible. It's impossible to be perfect. There's always going to be mistakes, there's always going to be room for improvement. So I've learnt over the years to not care about perfection, but to care about the process. So if I'm going to the gym, just caring about that one training session and just trying my hardest. So that's, I'm competing with myself. I'm just trying to be a bit better today than yesterday. So I'm not overly concerned about having to be perfect.
That's good. Another thing I've stopped caring about is committing too much to people, overcommitting. For example, just say you know that you have a really, really busy day, and then people have asked you to do another 5 things, and you don't want to make anybody sad or upset them because maybe you hate confrontation. So then you overcommit. But I've slowly learned to not commit so much when I know it's going to really increase the amount of stress that I'm feeling, or if it's just going to create a really unrealistic and very, very difficult day for myself. So to be able to say no at times and to not overcommit is something that I've continued to learn actually.
I've stopped caring about watching the news too much. Growing up, watching the news was a staple in our daily routine, watching the 6 o'clock news when we are eating dinner. But over the years, I've stopped consuming so much, I would say, mainstream media. It's impossible to avoid media and the news, but there are other ways to find out what's happening in the world. You have social media, and I've learned to be more selective and to criticize the news that I'm consuming. For example, what agenda do they have by showing this particular piece of news? Because there are so many bad things that are happening in the world. It's very easy to let that make you feel depressed and sad, but it can also make you feel numb. So when you feel numb, you think, oh, there's another war happening, there's bad things happening, I'm going to switch off to all of it. That's also a dangerous thing, because then you stop understanding and finding out about the truth about what's happening. Because this can happen in life. If you're bombarded with constant bad news, you'd switch off. But then you're kind of burying your head in the sand. So I've learned to really fact check the information that I'm getting, and to make sure that it's not propaganda, I'm not trying to be influenced, and use different multiple sources to find out what's happening in the news.
True. Because, yes, you should know what's happening in the world and in the news, but it shouldn't be like something that you have to know about 8 hours of the day, for example. Know what's happening, but don't immerse yourself to such an extent that it can become overwhelming. The other thing that I've stopped caring about is unnecessary stress. So understanding that you only have so much time in the day, and to focus on the things that make you happy, and to not think about things that are out of your control. For example, just say you are going to attend an upcoming event, and you're really nervous because you have to actually give a speech at the event. Yes, be nervous about it, that's normal. But the unnecessary stress around it is where you can create so many different scenarios of how it could possibly go. And then you can overthink it and ruminate and just have negative associations with this speech or presentation that you're about to give at this event. So letting go of unnecessary stress and really being present, I think, is something that is so important, because when you are present, then you are able to enjoy the moment instead of always thinking of the past, thinking about the future, and creating unnecessary stress in our minds.
I've stopped caring about past mistakes. It's taken some time. It's a bit difficult to do, but I think over time I've become better at caring less about the past mistakes. You have to think about the mistakes that you've made in order to move forward, but sometimes you can get stuck in those mistakes and think about, oh, life could have been differently, or I should have done this or this differently. And you can be very hard on yourself. But it's really important to let those go, let those mistakes go, let the past go, and really use all of your energy to move forward. Because when you are positive about the present moment, that impacts the future. It's a bit of a paradox that if you think about the future as well too much, it's difficult to create what you want because you're so focused on that. But when you're focused on the present and just putting one foot in front of the other, it gives you a lot of energy and momentum. I've also stopped caring so much about other people's opinions. I think everyone will have an opinion about something that you should do or giving you advice. But it's very important to listen to yourself. And I think over time, you gain more experience and you're able to listen to yourself, to understand what your strengths, what your weaknesses are, and to really be your best friend. So yes, you can listen to other people's advice. There's a famous song, sunscreen song, where they talk about giving advice. Like everyone has some advice to give. And if you reject that advice, you can make the other person feel sad.
You do
So,
know the irony now is that you're giving advice.
yeah. So, listening to other people's advice, if you are automatically rejecting it, it could come across as being quite mean. But, you can politely go about your own business. You don't really have to let that advice and opinion affect what you want to do. I mean, for example, if you're deciding what career path to do or what subjects to study, it's very easy to be affected by other people's opinion. And they may have your best interests at heart. They may advise you to study a safe subject or go for a safe career because they think by having that, you can have money, you won't have any stress, you can buy the things that you need to have a family, for example. But you'll lead a life of silent desperation if you go down that path. So sometimes you really have to trust yourself, go all in on yourself and your opinion and what you think is the best thing to do.
Yes. And the eighth thing that we stopped caring about is negative self-talk, meaning changing the negative self-talk to positive self-talk. Because really, once you start thinking positively about yourself, about your life, it can really change the direction of your life. It is true. But if you continue to have negative self-talk, then you keep attracting negativity into your life. So it is important to watch your thoughts, see what you focus on, and change it if needed. So if you'd like, you can watch this video on what to do when your inner voice is being cruel. Do comment below and let us know what are some of the things that you stopped caring about. Do like, share, and subscribe. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.